Good morning and welcome to our Introduction to Spreadsheets lesson. So, a spreadsheet is a computer program that allows you to perform lots of maths calculations. A spreadsheet is made up of grids in rows and columns. So if we just have a look now at a spreadsheet. So this is a spreadsheet. Most people will be used to using Excel. You may have other versions of spreadsheets at home to use, but all have the same principle. So a spreadsheet is made up of a grid, and we can see the grid here. This is the grid. Okay. The grid is made up of two main sections. The first section being the column. The column is the one that goes up and down the page, so remember this by the column holding up the page. So this is the column, and you'll see at the top that the column has a letter. The second section is the row, and the row goes across the page, and a way to remember that is that you row your boat across the page. Okay, so there is your row, and you'll see at the start of the row you've got a number. In this case that's number 4. The individual sections here are called cells, and we have an active cell, and the active cell is this cell here because you can see that there's a green line around it making it bold. So this active cell is called D because we're in the column D, and the row is 6. So that active cell there is D6. You may also hear that a spreadsheet has a range of cells, and this is a group of cells. So in this case what I'm going to do is colour them green. The beginning cell of this range is, start by the column, so F, and then the row, which is 6. So the beginning of this range is F6. The end of the range is the very bottom last cell, and in this case it is J, and the row is 13. So this range of cells is known as F6 to J13. I want you to go to your workbook now, so this book that you've got with you, and if we scroll down please to this page here, and this is the introduction. This is what we've just coloured. What I'd like you to do is just go through and answer these 4 questions. Okay, welcome back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at cell references. So remember that a cell reference is somewhere where a number or a letter is living. Okay, so the next page of your workbook, if you just scroll down to that, we have to find out where each of these letters are living. So if we look at the first one here, cell A1, so A1, we can see that there is a letter S living in that cell. So I'm going to work through the next one with you. So if we find G1, So if we go over here to find the column G, then we look at the row, which is 1, we can see that in cell G1 the letter P is living. I'd like you just to work through that now. Pause the video in a second and complete that phrase, and when we come back to the phrase we'll be able to see what we've got and I'll compare our answers. Okay? Okay, so we should have the answer, and the answer that we should have got is spreadsheets are fun. So in your own time, a little bit later on, to practice these skills again, on the next page you'll see that there are 4 more codes to be broken. There are a lot more rows and columns to choose from, so look carefully and work your way through this section too. You also have in your workbook a little grid to fill in. So the following people may use a spreadsheet to help them with their work. So we've got a teacher, an accountant, a shopkeeper, a scientist and a banker. As part of your homework or a little bit of independent learning, I'd like you to have a think about and maybe research what each person in this grid would use a spreadsheet for. Okay, so before we move on, we just need to know a little bit more about a spreadsheet, and we need to know the various parts and what they're called. So in your workbook again you'll see this diagram, okay, and you'll be able to complete this again in your own time, and you may need to repeat this video just to be able to help you do that. Okay, those students that are in school will be able to access this and do it themselves on the spreadsheet. If you want it at home and you've got access to Excel, then let me know and I'll email a copy over to you and you can practice filling this in. It will automatically calculate for you whether you've got it right or wrong. So we'll start off with this area here. So this arrow is pointing to the top part of the spreadsheet. This will be called a title bar. So what you need to do is type into here, let's just take the cap locks off, title bar, and you'll see that it's correct because it's got correct underneath it. This next section here, okay, I want you to try and find out which of these it is. Now I know for definite it's not a row, but if I put in row here, you will see that you don't get the correct answer. Okay, and I think for some of you it might be easier to try and work through what we actually know. Okay, so let's have a look. This next one, data type. This is number. See, we've got the numbers there, 1, 2, 3. So if I type in there number, we know that we've got that correct. If I look at the cell reference here, I can work out that it's B and I can work out that it's 12. So we look at the column and we look at the row. So I would type in here B12. Okay. This is text. We know that. Okay, these are letters, and letters in a spreadsheet we call text. So text would go into there. This is a number, but it's a number with a difference. Have you noticed that it's got a pound sign in front of it? So the pound sign makes it become currency. So if we type in here, currency. Now you need to be careful with your spelling, because if you don't spell it correctly, it won't come up as being correct. Okay. This section here, this bar here, is called a formula bar. Okay, and this is where you will see a little bit later on, when we start to use our formulas, that we can type our formula in there and it will show us what we've been typing in. This section here is called a name box, and depending on which cell you are in, that will change. So if I click in here, you will see at the top there it's already got O11, and this is the name bar. You can always identify where you are in a spreadsheet by just checking that there. So it's automatically moved down to this cell here with the green box around it, and you'll see that it is O15 there. Okay. We all know what this one's called. This is a row. Down here, this is a sheet. So there's a different sheet at the bottom you can add by clicking on the plus. So this is a worksheet. And we know that this is a column. So we've filled in all the ones that we should be happy about, which means that we've got this one here. And this one, if you scroll up to the top here, you will see that this is called a menu bar. The menu bar allows you to go through the tabs as you're used to when you've been using PowerPoint or Word. It's very much the same. Okay, I think we've covered everything there. Right, you'll be able to go into your workbook, okay, and you will be able to write the answers in on the sheet there below. And again, if you're struggling with it, either look at your spreadsheet or come back and play the video back and work your way through it again. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to identify how we build a formula. And it's called a formula in a spreadsheet. I'm just going to go through some of the basics with you. Okay. So a spreadsheet, it won't work properly if you don't tell it what to do. Okay, now when you're doing maths, if you're doing a calculation, in this case here, you may well put 23 plus 64 equals. So when we're writing it down, we put the two numbers together with the function that we need, and then we put the equals. But when we're using a spreadsheet, we have to put the equals in first. Because if we don't put the equals in, the spreadsheet doesn't know that you would like it to perform a calculation. So if I just go back to a spreadsheet for you, we go on to here. Just make that a bit bigger so that you can see. So if I put in here 23, I want to add it to 64. Okay. If I was writing that down on a piece of paper, I would put 23 plus 64 equals, and then we'd have to try and work it out. In a spreadsheet, it works slightly differently. So what we do first is we put the equals sign into the cell. This tells the spreadsheet that you would like it to do a calculation for you. So I still want to add those two numbers together. The difference is now what I'm going to do, rather than use the numbers, is I'm going to use where the number is living. So in this case, the 23 is living in cell A1. So I will put in equals A1. You can see that that's now been highlighted with a blue box to tell me and show me that I've got the right one. The symbol on a spreadsheet for plus is the same as you would use in maths, so I'm just going to put plus. And I want to add it together to the 64. So where's 64 living? Well, that is living in cell C1. So I'm going to type in there C1. That you'll see now is highlighted in red. So I can quickly see that I've selected the correct cells. So I've told the spreadsheet equals, I want it to perform a calculation for me. I've told it where my first number is living, and I've told it where my second number is living. All I do then is press enter, and that will automatically add those two numbers together. Okay, we'll try another one. What I'll do is reverse the numbers. So in this one I'm going to put 64. I want it to subtract 23. So again, in this cell, what do I need to do? I need to put the equals, so that I'm now telling the spreadsheet that it is going to perform a calculation for me. I'm then going to select, this time, A2. So I can either type in A2, or, just to make sure that we're going to the right place, I can click in that cell. I then use the subtract button, and the subtract is the same as it is in maths on a spreadsheet, and then I'm going to click in this cell, which is C2, and then I'm going to press enter. So there I've got my answer for 64 take away 23. Once I've put that formula in there, I can actually change these numbers. So if I change this number now to 54, when I press enter, you will see that this number here will automatically change. There we go. So 54 plus 64 is 118. Same with this next one. I can change that number or that number. So in this case, I'm going to change this number to 37. So 64 take away 37, press the enter key, watch this one here, because this is the one that's going to change. And it automatically does your calculations for you. Okay. We have a slight change in the operations that we use for multiply, so times in two numbers together, because on a spreadsheet, if we put the times sign in, which is an X, that is text, and the spreadsheet will go, don't know what you're asking me to do. So we'll just do something quite easy. I'll put 10 in there. I'm going to put 2 in there, and we know that 10 times 2 should give us the answer of 20. Okay, so I want there to be a times, so that is the maths symbol. On a spreadsheet, again, we start with equals, select the cell that we want, but the symbol now for multiply on a spreadsheet is the star sign, and you'll find the star sign by pressing either Shift and 8, or if you have a number pad on the right hand side of your keyboard, you will see the star above the number 9. So I've chosen A3 multiplied by, in this case now, C3, and enter, and we know that that should give us 20. And this is quite useful if we've got numbers that we're not confident with. So if I put in there, say, number 24, and I multiply that by a bigger number than we're probably used to, so what I'm going to do is put 48 in there. So 24 multiplied by 48 gives us 1052. So the spreadsheet, now that we've set it up, will automatically calculate any of those numbers that we put into those cells. So the last one for you is divide. Okay, so we'll do a number that we know. So again, I'm going to put 20, and we're going to divide that by 2. Now the math symbol okay, I'm just going to have to cheat a little bit here, is I'm going to go and get that, copy that, and I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet and just paste it in there so that you can see that. Okay, so 20 divided by 2. So again, going into this cell here, equals, so I'm telling the spreadsheet that I want it to do a calculation for me. I want it to select A4, and the divide sign on a spreadsheet is the /. Okay, so that is on your keyboard towards the bottom right hand side next to the Shift key, or if you've got the keypad, it is situated above the 8. So A4 divided by C4, enter, is 10. So 20 divided by 2 is 10. And that is how we use a spreadsheet to help us with our calculations. What you're going to do now is go back to your workbook, and in here there's some practices for you. So here we have the numbers, so 23 and 64, the formula that we will put in there. Okay, I want you to write it in. So I want you to write in equals. Remember that you have to tell the spreadsheet what you would like it to do. Then replace the numbers with the cell address where it's living. And then if you have got a spreadsheet at home, I'd like you to go onto the spreadsheet, and I'd like you to copy that into a spreadsheet with the formulas so that you can get the answers. If you haven't got access to a spreadsheet, that's not a problem. I just want you to write in the formulas there. Okay. That will end today's lesson. You can look back on the video You can practice the skills and don't forget to do the homework. I'll see you all in the next lesson. See you later.